What do you guys think that Marcus is doing right now? Because I imagine him in the kitchen holding Max with an apron on that says, I don't know, like finger the cook or something. And then like he's on the phone with like a mad parent from a student at the school. And then so that's up against his ear. And then in his other hand is a book for his master's program that he's learning. And then Kelsey is just kind of like cheering him on in the background because she had to do it earlier. That's what I imagine right now. And no, he has nothing on underneath the apron.
Oh, see, I wasn't imagining that. I was imagining he had no pants on, like he was Winnie the Pooh style.
Oh, okay.
But he had the apron on, and he was wearing a metal band T-shirt that had way too many holes in it.
I just kept picturing Max in a onesie that says, I like boobies.
Okay.
Yeah.
He probably has that. I mean, he's got a lot of clothes.
That's where he eats.
Yeah,
he's got matching ones with.
except Max's onesie actually says, if they're attached, they're real.
Yeah. I mean, we all know Marcus has a set of like them rubber things.
Absolutely,
like they look good on him.
Yeah,
but
they look great.
It doesn't do Max any good.
No, it really fills his form out.
He straps them titties on and he steps in front of the mirror and he just says, "I am electric, ma'am."
Brilliant. Hey everybody, I'm Dane Holland.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer.
My face hurts.
Why?
I'm Austin Tiny Zent. I don't know.
That's why. And we are Nerded Through the Grapevine, the podcast where four best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. Three of us today. Sometimes I try to say that in the opener thing, but then it totally throws my rhythm off and I can't finish it right. So there's just three of us today, but that's okay because Marcus is here in spirit. I can feel him.
Yeah.
It like radiates from the chair on which his butt sits.
Well, the thing radiating most right now is your head. For
Dude,
how
absolutely
freaking red it is.
It's so bad.
Well, see, as kids, like we can get our whole body just absolutely torched, and the next day, I don't know, still be sliding into second base playing baseball. But in this case, you can't even wake up right.
No, I can't sleep good. I can't wake up right. I was a little sicky this morning. I don't want to go outside because outside hurts.
Yeah.
It attacked you.
It attacked me.
It happens all the time to me. Every year, every time I get an outdoor show when I play music, the first outdoor show, I'm always like, well, it's not going to be that bad. And I get blistered.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just shy of blisters and purpleness. I even tried to punch the sun for what it did to me. I couldn't reach, and then I tried shooting at it, and then I was like, that's a terrible idea because ballistic trajectory. And so then I just raised my fist to the sky, and I just like cussed it for just a minute.
Damn!
Is that why I got a little darker for a second earlier today?
Yeah, it felt bad about itself, which is really what I wanted.
Yeah.
I took that as an apology from it.
I thought we were getting like a partial eclipse, but it was just you insulting the sun so hard that it decided to dull for a moment.
Yeah, it felt shame.
The day the sun winked.
It dishonored its family and itself.
All the stars winked out in one quick moment.
I mean, there was a reason there was no moon last night. Just saying.
It knew what was coming. It knew what it did to you.
It felt shame from the sun.
Oh my gosh. The moon heard what was going on. The moon was aware that you were pissed. And it's way closer than the sun, so it didn't want to have any part of that.
Yeah, I mean,
he said, this guy's gonna beat my ass.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. The moon is infinitely more attractive than the sun. I can look directly at her and I don't feel like my eyes are dying.
Plus the man in the moon. It's looking back at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's looking at me, looking at him, looking at me, looking at him.
Touching you. That's different. That's not looking. That's touching.
Right.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah. It's different.
So a little peek behind the grapevine. Last week, Marcus is like, we should finish the podcast like we used to do our segments and stuff, because we've been having a lot of long conversation about stuff in the newer format, which is awesome. But it's nice to have a little fun here and there. And I was thinking, yeah, well, we can even do the trope thing where we go on the website that he uses to do the random trope generator, and we can discuss some tropes that we come across and have a good time with that. And in the end, we can kind of put them all together into our own little story. And it's yeah, everybody's like, yeah, that would be fun. That'd be something like we used to do. That'd be great. And he's not here, so we're gonna do it anyway.
We're gonna do it in his memory.
Without him, and he can listen to this one and just enjoy it and think of all the things that he would have done differently and probably made it better.
I got greased up and ready to wrestle this pig, so I'm excited to talk about tropes. I mean, if you want to look up tropes and try to even just inform yourself on different things that you don't know about with TV tropes or movie tropes or literature tropes, anime tropes, the list goes on. Get on tvtropes.com because tvtropes.com
.org. It's an organization.
Oh, it is an organization.
I don't know about .com.
Oh,
I've
don't
never
get
been
on
there.
.com.
Don't go there.
Wait,
I went to
a .net situation.
It is
Oh,
.org.
Jesus.
I am so sorry.
No, it's fine.
tvtropes.org. Don't get on .com. It's like whitehouse.com. Don't do it. But literally anything you can think about as far as tropes go can be listed on this site. They go into deep description about different stuff. You can go to the random TV trope button up top and just click it, and you can find out all sorts of miscellaneous bullshit, honestly, that you don't need to know. But, we got inquiring minds. It's been bred into us. We're nosy people.
Yeah, it's like Wikipedia has like this little random thing. So if you're ever like, I want to learn something today, but I don't want to pick what it is, just go on Wikipedia and you can hit the random wiki thing. You can do that here too.
I kind of view this more as an Urban Dictionary situation because at least with Wikipedia, some of the information is applicable.
Right.
With this, it's not really that applicable.
What if you're making a story and you're like, there's something missing?
Okay, it's a very
very niche
situation
Absolutely.
where it's actually applicable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that site, it's not with Wikipedia. It has all things that exist. You look it up on Wikipedia, but with tvtrope.org, you're looking up just within that specific narrowed, although it is very broad.
Yeah.
TV tropes. It's of course my favorite from anybody that knows me is going to be like the otherworldly stuff, like the like Ezekai animes or Through the Portal, as that's referred to in American
storytelling.
Yes, storytelling, because we have examples of that all through American storytelling, but it's just that specific Ezekai statement, that word, which means literally another world, was put into effect with manga and anime because it became such a recurring trope that needed its own classification for how are we going to bunch all these together? How they're all very similar.
For me, who doesn't watch a lot of otherworld animes, that Ezekai anime, it's crossed over from trope to cliche for me, because anytime you've got one on TV, I'm like, oh, what's this one about? And you start telling me, I'm like, oh, it's an Ezekai. Okay. Yeah. And it's used so often and obvious that it's, I think it's now cliche, but I mean, if most of them are, oh, there's a spider on the wall. Austin, please kill the spider. Please kill the spider. Please kill the spider. Please kill the spider.
Eat it. It's full of protein.
Please kill the spider. Please kill the spider.
Please kill the spider. I want to say to this spider.
Kill the spider,
It's the
please.
food of the
Kill the
future.
spider, please. Kill it now, please.
I am made to protect.
They say that bugs are the food of the future. So now you gotta eat what you kill. Just like the Native Americans taught us, use every part.
We got to leave him on the wall so it's a sign for all his other friends.
Yeah,
Whenever
You're
they see
wasting
it.
food.
Also, I'm not
lick it up in a
not
minute.
getting that off the wall without a paper towel. So I'm not touching that. I had to channel my inner Orisa just then from Overwatch. I am made to protect.
As I was saying before, the spider rudely interrupted the show. It may be cliche for me because it's such an overused, constant, overarching theme of these different shows, but I think it's closer to like, I mean, there's sci-fi, there's horror, there's fantasy. I think Ezekai is like, might as well be in that same like large list of things that's a big blanketed term for an entire genre of show.
Yeah,
So-
and within the anime stuff, The reason it's probably become so cliche to you is because I watch so many of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, definitely.
And that's my fault, but I'm just not into a lot of the other stuff because all these ezekais are fitting into the kind of anime that I like to watch, but it just so happens that this is the storyline. It's involving magic, it's involving some kind of role-playing game maybe. It's involving all this kind of fantasy world stuff, and it just so happens that these people are there from somewhere else, which is not unheard of in American stuff. Like The Wizard of Oz. One of the most popular films of all time is essentially an ezekai.
Yeah.
Girl gets sucked up by a tornado and through some kind of magic portal in the sky, she goes into the land of Oz, and it's magic and wizards and witches and munchkins and monsters. And
Are you saying that I like what's the term for like could be anime, but now it's realistic?
An adaptation?
live action?
No, live action. Are you
Okay.
saying that I enjoyed a live action anime?
Absolutely, you did.
Damn it!
You know what?
I hated anime.
You want to know what else is an ezekai?
What?
Dark Tower.
No,
No.
Where does
I disagree.
Where does Roland draw his what's it called? It's the ick something.
What his what?
Yeah, he's got some kind of power.
Well, he draws his gun from his holster.
Oh, Jesus
That's his
Christ.
power.
Well,
That's
he-
a very good power.
That's literally his only power.
Well, he draws something from the city of New York. That
He draws a person, actually a couple of people.
yeah. What do you think that those people's stories are? Where they're coming through a portal,
The
going
parallel
into
dimensions, bro.
another dimension. They're in another dimension. That's an alternate plane of existence, another world. That is an ezekai.
I don't.
Sorry, Tommy.
I don't
I think
believe
this is
that.
one that it doesn't matter how much information or facts given.
It's not right.
Not right. It can't be right. Right.
Yeah.
It's like no.
Yeah, I don't believe your religion.
I'll go full Alex Jones on you. He's like, no, what you got to do is you got to.
Gotta drink the bone broth.
Say the one that blew my mind. That's a very obvious one.
Let me
that
see real
has to
quick.
do with a very good soundtrack and cartoons and sports.
Oh my God, yeah. Space Jam is an ezekai.
It is 100,000% an ezekai.
Michael Jordan gets sucked down a golf hole.
Golf hole.
I don't know what they're called.
It's a golf hole.
It's a what is it?
I don't know if you're wrong
The cup.
or not.
What he gets sucked down a cup. I don't know, but the ball is in the cup. No, he gets sucked down a cup into a portal that's literally the Warner Brothers symbol, and he sees it happening, and he's got that happening while he's getting pulled through there. For some reason, I never really thought about that growing
I
up.
don't know, man.
But he gets pulled through that, and now he's in the. It's a kai. It's a kai anime, but just live action with cartoons.
It's
Heavy breathing.
it's ezekai animation.
Yeah.
And it is one of those to where the main character that gets sucked into this other world, they don't know they have powers until like the end, whenever he can stretch it. This is a spoiler for those of you who haven't seen the first Space Jam.
Are you gonna spoil Space Jam?
I'm fixing to spoil
1 for
Space
me?
Jam 1. Sorry, Tiny.
Good thing I've
That's
already
for
seen it.
you. Aw. That was that fart was useless. He stretches his arm like the length of the court and dunks it for the final points of the game, which he doesn't technically dunk it. He kind of throws it down into the goal instead of actually hanging on the rim. But anyway, he wins the final game with a power he never knew he had, and he can only have it because he's in this other world.
Yep.
And that is a very reoccurring theme with ezekai, is unlocking powers that all of a sudden now you have, because on this plane of existence, you can have these special abilities.
And Tiny, behind you, there's something that's on the wall that I need you to look at.
The purple dildo,
Nope.
Nope, to the right of it.
the duck,
No,
Nope.
to the right of that.
it looks like Shazam comic.
It's
Nope.
the other one that's the last thing.
The black foam.
Oh, dadgummit, it's the other thing.
Hold on, behind this.
Oh, now you've ruined it.
Oh, God.
You've ruined it all.
Well, you're gonna have to pick all that up. The Warriors of Virtue.
Oh, the thing that I was moving.
Yes. The Warriors of Virtue, absolutely an ezekai. And I mean, even down to the whole going into a world that everything's driven by kung fu and magic. It is an ezekai. This kid
Classic.
this kid with a disability crosses over into the world of Tao. In the world of Tao, he can now walk, and he's no longer, affected by this disability he's had in his entire life. So in that way, he is now in a new body. So he's
One correction. It is the land of Tao. That is how it's referred.
So it's another land, not another world. So this is the way that it can get around
I mean, look, I'll give you that one.
Okay.
Okay.
There's
I appreciate
a
that.
lot, some heavy Japanese influence in that movie. I'll give you that one.
Tron.
Yeah, a digital world.
Yep, Tron is definitely an ezekai for the idea that it's getting sucked into the digital realm. It is not the realm that we are used to or the realm that we know, but it's all the digital realm. So that's an ezekai in that way. Planet of the Apes, that was as well, because he was, the twist ending where it's actually the Statue of Liberty and all that other stuff. Sorry,
Austin!
You're just giving up so much.
The never-ending story. Mm-hmm. And that is just a tale that is one that is that's teetering on the line in the way that they've got it described. But I'm going to accept it as that because
name's Sebastian.
I don't know what he says. I've never known the name.
The Page Master.
Yes, the Page Master
That's
with
a
Macaulay
good
Culkin.
one. So those of you who don't know the Page Master, because it was a very important story to me as a
Christopher
child.
Lloyd was a wizard.
Oh yeah, I think that might have been the movie. Yeah, no, that was the movie that made me afraid of drawings. I'll explain that in a moment. I think I may, have in the past.
Nope,
but
never heard that.
You've never heard this story?
Never. I've known you for almost
Story
20
time. It's
almost
story
20
time.
years.
Gather round, children. So the Page Master, a young Macaulay Culkin, not as young as Home Alone Macaulay Culkin, right? Was this after Home Alone, or was it before?
This was after Home Alone.
Was it after Home Alone?
Yes. It was
Are we
after
sure?
Home Alone. Yes.
Okay.
Home Alone 1, maybe not 2.
Okay, got it. But anyway, he's a kid, and he gets transported inside this library into the book world where it's animated. And he becomes animated as well, so it's not like Michael Jordan being, just a dude in the cartoon world. But he goes through all these different stories and things before coming back to the real world. And in it, there's this, it might have been Moby Dick, I think was the book that he was going through in that. And it was the whale. And plus, I'm afraid of very large things that shouldn't be as large as they are. I'm also afraid of the deepness of the ocean. And when you combine those things, and then in real life, you put me in a pool called Echo Valley, which is no longer. It's no longer.
Oh, it's
Rest
just a
in
hole
peace.
in the ground now.
Yeah, just a hole in the ground.
One quick moment of silence for Echo Valley Pool.
Okay, that was quick enough.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, and pieces, because I think the tornado actually ripped through it.
It's true,
Yeah.
but the pieces have been removed except for the pool.
Okay, that's all that's left.
There's a hole in the ground.
Well,
left.
a long time ago when I was young, they had paintings on the bottom of the pool of different sea life. And one was there was like a whale and a crab and a starfish and a bunch of other things. And in the deepest part of the pool was the whale painting at the base of it. So when I'm in the water and I look down and see a cartoon drawing of a whale, my idiot kid brain, which still exists now as my idiot adult brain, takes me back to the Page Master, and I'm in Macaulay Culkin's situation, and that whale is going to come alive and swallow me. And no matter how ridiculous I knew it was that real fear of me being in that water that something is going to take me down. And I hated getting in that pool so much because of that.
So I bet you hated Pinocchio then.
What happened with Pinocchio?
Geppetto gets swallowed by the whale.
He does.
Yeah, that's correct.
He was in a real
forgot
Jonah
about
type
that.
situation.
Then yes, I think that was one of the fears that I just blocked out of my memory because it was so scary.
Monstro was the name of that whale, and he was a scary whale in that movie. I'm going to go through just a couple more here that are obvious, though, like the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
It's an
you go through a closet and you end up in the Narnia.
Yep. Obvious on that one. Cool World. That was a Brad Pitt movie in the early 90s where he actually got sucked into the animated world. And he could go, they can go to and from this animated world into the real world and back. And they ended up having deformities in reality from people having sex with the animated characters and them giving birth to deformed reality babies.
This is real? This is an actual film?
Absolutely.
I've never heard of that. Tiny, have you ever heard of this?
It started off sounding like a kid's movie
You've all seen this picture probably here of like this Marilyn Monroe style cartoon woman and Brad Pitt, There was even a video game about it. Like it's insane.
It sounds like a poorly redone Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It was Roger Rabbit.
Well, that was the thing. Like that's what they were doing with it, but it wasn't done as well as Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So, and then there was another one too that nobody ever thinks about. That's pretty cool. Jumanji. Jumanji, he gets sucked into the world of the game.
Yeah.
And he has to live his life in the world of the game, and he comes back out this changed man.
In the jungle, you must wait till the dice read 5 or 8.
Oh, that's such a good movie. I need to watch, honestly, the remake of it because I've heard it's actually fun.
And they actually explore the Ezekiel nature of it in the new one.
In the game? They go into the game?
Yes. And Welcome to the Jungle, they actually go and are characters in Jumanji, and they're not the people they were when they got sucked into the game.
See, the original Jumanji is more like a reverse Ezekiel normally, to where the world has come to them.
Yep.
Because this other world has joined them instead of them being transported there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a reverse of what you mostly see in different Ezekiel.
Yeah, because we're getting to see the things getting pulled from Jumanji put into our world.
Brendan Fraser's Monkey Bone?
Yes.
Monkey Bone? Is that another one as well? Or I don't remember the whole plot of that thing. All I remember was it was a mix of cartoon and real life.
If you go off of the same thing that the Neverending Story was because even though Bastion wasn't in the other world, through reading the book and being so transported to it, mentally, he was sharing a psychic link with that world. Okay. And that's the idea of the book. That book brought you into it that way. And by him sharing that psychic link with the Atreyu and the childlike empress, he was able to, actually be a part of that world finally. And that's when he was able to cross over. So same idea with that.
Yeah. Well, because if the story's being told from a perspective of a person being transported to another world, and they're still their normal selves in their world, but they exist in this other one now, even if it's not literally happening, the story's being told that way, so it is in Ezekai's situation. Yeah. Because at the classic at the end, a trope of "it was all a dream," and how that is so hard to work well, and people can do that with the Star Wars sequel trilogy. A lot of people are like, my headcanon is that this was all a dream, to where some character I like had this just dream of all this stuff happening and it never actually happened, or it was a vision that Palpatine had of the future of what could happen and it never actually happened. So that whole it was all a dream thing, while the story's being told, it can be as a guy. But
Jedi character B wakes up and said, "Whew, I'm never drinking any more of that Tusken Raiders tea."
Roll credits.
Star Wars.
Tiny, what's a good one that you found whenever you were starting? Did you do what I did and did the random?
I did do the random thing because it's, to me, it's hard to think of a trope because, realistically, everything is a trope.
Everything.
So I just clicked random and I come across some cool ones. And before I get into that, I do want to answer Austin's question. The name that Atreyu yells out is Moonchild.
Moonchild.
And that is the stupidest name for the childlike empress.
Okay, well
ever.
that's cool though, because now I can hear the way that the pentameter of his voice, because it always sounded like he was just yelling. Like that's all I could hear. That's all I could ever hear, because I didn't grow up with subtitles. I grew up with VHS. So all I got was Moonchild. Yeah. Oh, my childhood has a puzzle piece put into it, and I just pee a little.
You're complete now.
You are complete.
I shall sleep.
So one of my favorite ones of the random ones, it's called Elderly Immortal.
Yes.
It's an immortal being that's old and crotchety. I can't think of a specific media that I've seen this in. I've seen it in several D&D campaigns that I've played in, and it's always just tickled me to death. We had one character that his deity just kept him around because he liked him, and the guy was just so mad about it. Like, he's like, I just want to die. I've been here for 6,000 years. And he was old and he was cranky, and it was just awesome. It's just great.
It's the most miserable way to be immortal.
Yeah.
It's just you're still aging. You still wake up in constant pain, but sorry, you've got to be around.
Yeah.
Just because you're liked.
Yeah, you became immortal at the age of 100, so that's just what you're going to be from now on.
Oh, I didn't think about that. It's like the moment you become the immortal.
Yeah.
Well, there are some immortal stories that the aging thing doesn't make a lot of sense because, like, let's say they're born immortal, like there's some kind of like god or something like that, but somehow they just constantly exist in their 30s, like forever, or their 20s. It's like, okay, whenever you're your most attractive self, that's what you get to be for the rest of forever. But I think they usually turn to the whole, it's the version of your best self, and that is what you forever stay.
Right.
So, yeah, because once you start deteriorating, your body fixes itself, which happens in a lot of vampire stories.
Yeah, it almost makes that trope cliche.
And there's
Because
there's
it's
an even
just, you're just eternally young instead of you're just old. It's just pissed.
the other trope that would be the reverse of that would be eternally too young, because also in another vampire trope, like in Interview with a Vampire, you got to see Kirsten Dunst's character actually be turned as a child, be turned into a vampire, and she's now stuck in the same childlike, doll-like form for the rest of her life, for the rest of eternity.
There's some weird that's where some stories get real weird.
I got the shivers from that. It's
Yeah,
just awful.
because like a kid being way older than what they should be. There's a flying spider. I didn't know they made those.
Whoa.
Why are there so many flying spiders? Kill the flying one. Where is it? It's within.
What kind of third world hell are we?
I don't know.
Invaded. Where's Malcolm at? He's not doing his job.
No, that means he's near. If the spiders start showing up, that means Malcolm is nearby.
I hear he married the queen, and like that could be Malcolm's babies.
Absolutely, he did. Ooh, little Malcolm spider babies? That's adorable. I love that idea. Marcus would hate that if he were here. What were we talking about? Baby vampires? Kid vampires. Yeah. That's another, in anime, that's another trope that's become cliche, is this like very young character that is thousands of years old. And it just makes for real awkward, weird situations.
Yeah.
Because all kinds of bad.
Well, I've also seen it be kind of neat. I don't know if you gentlemen have read the Twilight series.
I have not. I think I've heard enough about it to know a lot, but that's it.
There's one character, she was turned as a child, and so she remained in childlike form. And she turned out to, she was one of like the original like purebloods or whatever, and she turned out to be one of the most powerful living vampires just because she's been there for so long. But she was underestimated because she had the appearance of a child.
Is this the one? Is this the one that could look at somebody and inflict an emotion onto him or a physical reaction?
Yes.
She was played by Dakota Fanning in the movies.
Oh, okay. I'm familiar with that person.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's well, that makes me think of also like the kid demons and stuff in the horror films, to where they use the kids as the scary thing, which is another trope of using the child horror thing, because it just makes your brain kind of flip on in, because kids are mostly associated with nice, fun, things.
Kids can be creepy.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one of the most terrifying things you can hear at 2 a.m. in a dark house is a child laughing.
Especially if you don't have any kids.
Especially if you don't have any kids. But
like Jesus Christmas. Like if I was in this house and it was late, say I got in late from a show or something, like last night, I didn't get in till like 3 a.m. Okay, say I'm going through the house and I know that Dane and Carly are asleep because they do not stay up that late.
No.
So 3 a.m. Everybody up!
Yeah.
Everybody up!
We're setting it on fire. Everybody up!
yeah.
I on the topic of children, I come across a random trope of free range children, which is a hilarious name for them, because you mostly associate that with livestock or chickens. Is chicken a livestock? I only think cows when livestock. Is a chicken a livestock?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, any animal that you keep in a group like that is livestock.
A livestock of, like if you had a stock of inanimate things, it just replaced that with living things. Dead stock.
Non-living stock.
Okay, cool. So free-range children, they're mostly kids on bikes that just get to go do whatever and wherever they want, and the parents aren't really in the picture ever, because you think of Stranger Things, which is one of the most recent versions of free range children, and Paper Girls is another really good one. It was it's originally an Image comic that I think is still continuing, maybe. But they made a live action version of Paper Girls, and Carly, she's read all of the issues of Paper Girls and watched the show with us, and she said it was a great adaptation of it. But that's one. Wait, that's an Ezekiel. Whoa, everything's an Ezekiel. Okay, now just everything is, because they're transported to another world. Well, no, that's time travel. That's different. That's time travel. It's the same plane of existence, but in a different time period, so that doesn't count.
But if you're doing time travel, you're also creating paradoxes, and then those paradoxes become other worlds.
Oh, whatever. See, it can always be flipped around on its head.
That's awesome.
But this is a group of girls who run a paper route, and they are all on their bikes, and then they get transported in time, and they go through a bunch of shit. But the bikes are usually a very important part of their characters, is how they get around, because they're too young to drive. So these free-range children are always on their little bikes in their little cruise. And I think it was more popular of a story like back when. It's not as popular now because everyone's indoors playing video games, as opposed to just meeting up with your friends and just riding bikes wherever. And even Paper Girls is set, I think maybe even in the 90s or 80s. Maybe 80s.
I think 80s.
80s, maybe?
I get 80s vibes.
Yeah, but it's even that story. It's a recent story that's been made, but it's even set back in the time where it was more, well, even paper routes, like that. That's still a thing, but it's done in cars instead of kids on their bikes.
Yeah.
So the whole free range children thing is really funny, because as an adult, you're watching that going, where are their parents? Where are any adults? How is anyone not stopping them from what's happening right now? And they just go around having a good time. And as a kid watching that, you're going, yeah, I could totally get into that kind of thing.
Well, I was a free-range kid some summers. Like, if I didn't have Vacation Bible School to be slammed into, my parents had me just outside.
Yeah.
I didn't get to sit inside and watch TV the way that I do now. It's like permanent summer vacation. I watch TV. Like, that's what I want to do. But it used to be as a kid, like, I'd be on my bicycle. I'd have my fishing pole and my tackle bag. I didn't have a tackle box. I had a tackle bag because I had to ride my bicycle, and ride a bicycle with a tackle box.
Well, the hooks are going to be poking you through the bag.
No, it was a specially designed, like, actual tackle box bag.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a tackle box backpack. I got it at Walmart. It was awesome. The 90s were light.
You fancy.
It was lit back in the 90s at the normal Walmart before it became super Walmart.
Oh, yeah. Sparta, man. I remember the just plain Jane Walmart. It was like an upper class Dollar General.
Yeah.
Dude, you'd go into the old school Walmart, and you would have the clothing section on the left that was about 40 feet long, and then you'd go past that, and then you'd have the shoe section, and then to the right of the shoe section, you would have the women's section, and it was the lingerie, because I was a child, and I used to go like to touch the panties because they were soft.
There were no groceries. Imagine Walmart with no groceries.
There were no groceries. It was a stuff store.
Yes,
there was
just stuff.
There were no things.
It became super whenever they had groceries.
There were pretty much no electronics, no hardware, no automotive.
It became everything all in one when the super came into town.
There was a toy aisle. There were toy aisles. I remember the toy aisles. Of course, those were there. And then there were sporting goods. They had sporting goods. Oh my gosh, when they opened up the Super Walmart, they had aquariums with fish in them.
Yeah.
They sold fish and pets.
They did.
They had a pet store section. Okay, I'm sorry. We got totally off topic.
Wait.
Hold on.
Walmart history.
I do have an example of free-range kids from my childhood.
Uh-huh.
So when the Super Walmart opened, I don't know if y'all were involved in this group. I do not remember. But a big group of us went and spent the night at Walmart the first night it was open.
I wasn't.
And it was a school night.
Yeah.
And it was terrible.
That was legendary. I heard the story of those of you that did that, but I was never a part of it.
Yeah, I ended up sleeping on one of the benches. Like, Walmart used to have benches just around for sitting.
They didn't have, like, pillows and stuff in the
No, it
pillow
was just
section
hard
or
wooden
anything?
benches. I just slept on that because I didn't want to have to try to buy something.
Any
'cause I messed it
literally
up.
ruffle any feather down,
Exactly.
pillows or blankets. I think for me, my free range children moments were always with one of my childhood best friends, Jesse, and he lived down the street from my Nana's house, and my aunt was always their babysitter. And I would hop on my bike or later my skateboard and just ride my way up to his house, and we would always just make a bunch of laps around the neighborhood. And it was a subdivision, so it just kind of looped around. And there was one time where we were just skateboarding in the road, and this lady came out and yelled at us to stop playing on her front porch. And we're like, there's a big gap between the road and your porch, lady. And so we just kind of, being little shithead kids, just kept doing what we were doing, but harder. Like, so I was doing ollies real hard, just slamming it down real good, bailing real good. And she didn't know, but she was cheering us on to do that even more. So we got to know the crazy lady through being free-range children, which was nice.
Maybe she actually enjoyed watching y'all, and it made her feel young again. So she went, if I yell at them, they'll do it even more intensely.
They're little shithead kids, so they're going to do the opposite of what I tell them.
She might have been actually really nice, but she had to be mean to feel joy.
I don't know her story.
Yeah,
I should not call her the crazy lady.
Maybe she was an immortal. Maybe she was an elderly immortal.
That might be why she was mad, because she couldn't die.
I would love for that to be my childhood crazy lady story, is that she was actually immortal, and so was her mother, and that's why they would always yell at me for riding my bicycle in their flower bed. The same exact thing that happened to you with the get off my porch.
Yeah.
It was destroying my garden.
And you weren't anywhere near the garden.
She lived at the top of the hill. I don't like to ride that hard. I like to get most of the way up the hill, and I would coast down the bottom. Like, I would push it up the hill as a kid and then coast down the bottom, and she accused me of riding through her flower bed, and my mom laughed in her face.
We had a game of, we would ride through, because there was a shortcut that would just go straight to his house, but it was through like 3 people's yards.
Nice.
And we would play the game of don't get caught, like doing that. And I'm pretty sure no one really cared, but for us it was just that fun little adventure of just, not doing the usual ride around in the road, but actually cutting through the yards. We weren't the types of kids that destroyed property, but we just made it a game because we were free-range children. That's what you do as free-range children.
Look, as a child, I remember living in an apartment complex, and I come across a Teddy Ruxpin. I don't remember if it was in the trash or if it was a yard sale acquisition, but you can bungee cord those Teddy Ruxpins to the handlebars of a bicycle, and it will function like a radio.
What?
Yeah, so you can like slap in tapes that could be like your mom's old like Eagles tapes or Guns N' Roses or Jeff Foxworthy. So I cruised with a Teddy Ruxpin on the front of my bike.
That's brilliant.
And
It was great.
And Teddy Ruxpin's mouth would actually move to the
Yes.
sound bits.
And I do know that his mouth will perfectly sync to Welcome to the Jungle. But
Really?
yes.
Oh.
So I used to get on my Teddy Ruxpin laden bicycle, and there was a big, huge hill on one side of the apartment complex. Like, I swear, this hill was probably like a 45-degree angle for at least 3 football fields. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, I didn't want to walk up it, much less bike. But the fun thing was to go the long way to get to the top, which was a nice, gentle rise. It probably took a mile to get there. And then when you get to the top, you pedal as hard as you can until pedaling is just completely irrelevant, while Teddy Ruxpin is just screaming some kind of
Welcome to the jungle!
yeah, just as loud as he can. And then you stand up on the seat of the bicycle.
Terrifying. You used to do this?
I used to do that, and it's a wonder I didn't kill myself because I had no helmet.
Well, you did eat shit going around that curve that day, though, so
I
you
did
paid for it at
once.
one point.
Yes, because you'd get to the bottom and the road would kind of split, and if you went to the right, you're good. There was just a little pothole, you'll be fine. If you went to the left, there was a curb, and I hit that curb one day because I didn't judge my angle very well, and it launched me off the bicycle directly onto my little butt cheeks and just so many rocks inside of there.
Free range children that's attached to some pretty heavy memories, I think, for a lot of people in our age group, because this generation of children that are that right after us that are not, they're in Generation Alpha now. Those are the children now.
Yeah.
Generation Alpha will never know what free range children are because it's not safe.
Right. Yeah. Well, even right after Millennial, what, Gen X?
Yeah.
Z is after
I
Millennial.
always forget Z.
Millennial is Generation Y.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, X before us, we're Y, then
Gotcha.
there's Z.
Cool. Yeah, even the right after us, because we were in that age of like where video games were just now becoming a household thing to where everybody was getting them, and you weren't really finding as many reasons to go outside whenever you had it all right there in front of you inside the house. And right after us, I think that's whenever they were even becoming more affordable even. So even more people were having at least the ones that were out of date or the handheld ones. You know, there were all these different ways to stay inside and have fun. So I think we might be one of the last free-range children generations of riding your bike, which is weird to think about.
So that we can make that canon if you want to, that millennials are the last generation that'll remember being free range.
Yeah.
We're probably going to be the last generation that even knows how to ride a bicycle.
Yeah.
Doesn't have some kind of motor built into it.
Have you been on one like in a while? Because
I still
it's
own
scary.
one, but I've not been on it because it's also from the 50s.
it's scary now. Like you describing in very good detail, by the way, of going
I'm a
down
born
that
storyteller.
hill.
Thank you.
Going down that hill, like my bones started getting cold because I just imagine the part of just going to where it's so fast the pedals don't matter anymore, because I know that feeling. I've been there. It's the most exciting thing ever.
Yes.
But the idea of doing that now is hell. Like that could be a hell loop that just you're riding your bike and lose control. It's like the being on a skateboard and the wobbles start happening. There's no recovery from that.
Please don't talk about them. Let's
I
just
know
not talk about
the wobbles. Once you get the wobbles, you're done for. You're on the ground, very fast sliding, because that's how fast you were going on your board. And I just,
I was. We used to play bicycle tag in my neighborhood. We'd go all around my neighborhood, just in and out through different side roads, because there were a lot of different side roads in my neighborhood that didn't lead to anywhere, but they were just like, this one goes up next to the library. This one cuts through the library parking lot. This one goes behind the dentist office. Da, 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 da. And we would just go all around the neighborhood and stuff. And one day I was really close to tagging somebody. I'm like, you better not stop. And I was reaching out to tag him, and I wasn't aware how close I was to a parking sign at the, I wasn't aware how close I was to a parking sign on my bicycle. I was just going full speed after somebody, and it was a no parking sign. And I clipped the metal of it with my handlebar, and it spun my bicycle sideways, kicked me off of it, and I rolled 4 times in a parking lot and came to the rest on my back.
you got bucked off of a bicycle.
I got bucked off of a... Now, thinking of that now, I got up from that. I got back on my bicycle, and I drove it home. Rode it home, whatever you do with a bicycle.
Sure, you drove it.
But I piloted my bicycle home with my handlebars being, about a foot wide like they normally are, except it's shifted to the right about 3/4 of the way. So I'm having to drive with just hunched over and just trying to keep balance on it so I can get home and try to fix it. And I fixed it with a hammer. and that's what everything is now growing up. You can fix it with a hammer. I just took a hammer to the side of it and went pat, 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 pat. I fixed it. Did I tighten the bolt to keep everything from getting that loosened or anything again? Hell no. I just beat it with a hammer and I went on. But now I wouldn't have even gotten up off the pavement to make it home and fix it with a hammer. I'd be lying on the ground screaming for my wife, wondering why she's not there to help me.
That's a trope. The hit it with a hammer and it fixes the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, Fonzie even did it with his fist.
Oh, yeah.
In, like every episode with the jukebox.
And the jukebox.
Yeah. When the jukebox would stop working, Fonzie.
Well, no, that's just how he would start it.
Oh,
He's
that's
like,
how
I want to hear a song, so he'd walk. He just hit it.
Oh, I thought it was broken, and that's just how it would begin.
People would put in quarters, but Fonzie was so cool, he could just hit it with his fist.
And that's when he'd go, "Ay."
Yeah. Fonzie was the cool guy. That's why he did cool guy stuff.
And that's so funny that Arthur Fonzarelli was played by such a goofy man.
Yep.
Henry, and he's such a sweet man too. And Henry Winkler loves his people, like his fans. Like, did you ever watch the Shatner show? Like that they had Winkler and Shatner and a few other celebrities that were going to these conventions. They were filming them having to go to these conventions together.
No.
Okay,
They're two opposite people when it comes to conventions.
Absolutely. And it was great because Henry Winkler was going around like agitating the fans extra to get them hyped to see William Shatner. And he would go over to William Shatner and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm just really excited that you're here with me today. I really hope that you enjoy your time with your fans." And Shatner was like, "I don't enjoy your existence."
I remember as a kid wanting to be Fonzie so bad. I
You
mean,
could be
granted, I
now.
got Happy Days on, reruns, but man, it was just so cool. Like, you could fist things and it would just work and do.
Sunday, Monday, Gappy days.
Yeah, I've tried to fist so many things that it never works for me.
You're talking about Gappy days.
Gappy days. Monday, Tuesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Gappy days. All days, Gappy days.
Now you've gone and jumped the shark.
Shitting a brick with you. Welcome to a surprise episode of Gaping with the Grapes.
Out of nowhere with a steel chair. Gaping with the grapes.
Don't they know he has a family?
Tiny, did you find any other random ones that you have listed anywhere?
Let me look.
Because I do.
At this point, I don't even remember what day it is.
You know, I'd had another one too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you looked any up.
Oh, I did.
The
Just what?
Beardness Protection Program.
Oh, give me that then.
Beardness?
Yeah. I saw that. I thought of us. It's somebody who's on the run, like either from the law or from a bad guy or whatever, and they grow a beard to hide their identity.
And that normally takes a while, but
Yeah.
in the movies, it seems to happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's like it's been 2 days, and now I have an aggressive beard.
Now, when you add sunglasses and a navy blue plain hat, then no one knows who you are.
You're completely
Your family
anonymous.
wouldn't know who you are. Your own children wouldn't recognize you.
Well, not only that, people don't even see you then. It's like an invisibility cloak.
That's like the mythology behind growing a beard, like Homer Simpson on The Simpsons. Every time he would shave his beard and take 3 steps away from the mirror, it would grow right back. Like that's like the mythology behind my beard to the people that I play music with, because anytime they've ever seen me shave my beard, they only see me on gigs. So 2 weeks have passed, and that's the second time they've seen me. So these old people are like, "Oh man, it's only been a couple days. Where'd you get that?" Like, is that how it works? Okay, yeah, I can grow a beard in 2 days. What's up?
Well, in the bearded badassery, like even that, just beards involved with tropes in general, normally is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think.
It's
I think
never bad.
It's never bad. It can't be bad, right? We all have them. It has to be a good thing.
Well, I always tell people I'm incognito that haven't known me since I've grown a beard.
Yeah.
Because I used to, keep like a small beard, like at least all the time. Like
Yeah.
some kind
of like
small
mine.
beard. Yeah, like
mine's a little smaller.
yeah, a little shorter beard.
Yeah.
But I used to keep that all the time. So cool. But people see me now, they're like, "Oh, I didn't recognize you." And I stroke the beard and I say, "Yeah, I'm incognito."
Like I don't know what my jawline looks like
I do.
anymore. I have no clue what mine even comes close to.
I don't even know if I have a lower face.
You may not.
Mine's pudding. I know that I've got.
You got put. Is that why you've
well,
got the long
I've got
beard now?
Yeah, I've got an excellent chin, but underneath the chin rests some pudding.
Is it chocolate?
It is not. It's tapioca. I can't explain it.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's textured.
I mean, I love tapioca pudding, but I do not want to imagine your skin involved with that at all.
Yeah,
I
just
only
that's
like
what
tapioca in ball form and in my honeydew flavored beverage.
Is that what boba is? Is boba tapioca?
Tapioca balls.
Tapioca is so.
Boba's tapioca?
Yeah, it's tapioca balls.
Well, when they're not flavor infused with something like
Right.
strawberry or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
they're
the
just
basic ones?
tapioca tasting chewy rubber.
I didn't know that was tapioca.
It is.
No wonder I like those balls so much.
I like them in my mouth.
Yeah, I always eat the balls whenever I have boba.
Beardness protection program. I mean, and that's a lot of things too. I mean, that's in so many things that you think about, like somebody going into a bunker and they're going to be coming out of a bunker too. And they for some reason, while they're in this bunker, they haven't stashed preparations to take care of themselves, with hygiene. So now they come out of the bunker and they're just bearded, and that's how they are now.
They've got guns and beans, but not a single toothbrush or razor in sight.
Exactly.
They come, yeah. Somehow
It's all guns and beans.
somehow their teeth end up perfectly fine though.
That's all you need.
Yeah. Well, it's because you only eat beans.
Yeah, you brush your teeth with a 9mm. You know what I mean? Wait,
Just
don't do
scrapes
that.
the plaque off.
Don't do that.
Oh, you mean the other kind?
Yeah, don't do that. That's how
please
you
don't.
die.
You said you had another one that
I
you
did.
randomly found, or one that you just thought of?
No, one that I had found on
Yeah?
TV Tropes, and it cracked
Okay.
me up so much that I found this on TV Tropes because I clicked random generator and I said, "What are you going to give me?" And it gave me another anime one that also goes into other aspects of television and literature.
Okay.
But beach episode trope.
Yeah, it's like a holiday episode trope. But
Yeah.
beach trip.
Beach episode trope. I mean, Happy Days. We just talked about Happy Days.
The Office.
The Office had a beach day. Happy Days had a beach day. Everybody remembers Arthur Fonzarelli, jumping on that. That is the most awful episode of television history.
I don't think I remember this.
Yeah.
Why is it the worst?
Jumping the shark.
Jumping the shark. Yep, absolutely.
Like literally jumping a shark?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like he jumped over a shark.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because-
that was his plan.
Oh, he wanted to do this
He
to
was
begin
going
with.
to do that with his motorcycle. He was going to Evil Knievel style jump over a shark.
And he succeeded.
They did it in the Brady Bunch. They did it in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They did it in Charmed. They did it in Chuck. There's so many different things.
Chuck.
They did it
That's a
in
good show.
They did
It
it
was a
in
good show.
They did it in Farscape, which was a
Really?
sci-fi, and there was a place that they were set on called Pleasure Planet.
Oh, where's Pleasure Planet? Where is it? I need to
We're
go
going to find
there.
ourselves back to Gaping with the Grapes.
No, I'm just thinking like pedicure, manicure. That's what I'm thinking.
And
It's
the
pleasurable.
And Hercules, the Legendary Journeys had one with Kevin Sorbo having a beach episode where he's at the beach. And even though people are already dressing in like rags on this show anyway, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to the beach. Let me get my skimpier rags. Insert mythological boudoir music.
Well, that's the nude beach trope as well.
Yep.
Like, that's a branch from the beach episode to where it's usually either kids sneaking out to it or the classic, we're going to go there and see some boobies, and it's all old men just walking out, dongs out. That's a classic trope.
So here in our hometown, there is a nude RV park.
What?
Yes, I did not know if y'all were aware of this.
Hold
No.
on. Pump the brakes. Put the jack brake on there. In our town?
Yeah, it's on Coalbank.
I don't know. I don't know where that is.
Oh, it's in the SSBA.
okay.
Coalbank is a road that
up on the mountain.
that is literally a gravel road that twists and turns like a snake, and sometimes has like up to 45-degree hill that you got to drive up it.
Well, you twist and turn the wrong way, you're going to find some snakes walking
No,
around.
you're gonna.
It's a membership only RV park.
as it should be.
I had no idea, but I'm friends personally with the sheriff, and I'm gonna ask him about that next time I talk to him.
The first wedding that I did was one of my supervisors at the Factory of Sadness.
Yes.
He lives next door, and he flew his drone over the fence because he heard rumors, and he basically was myth confirmed once he flew over there.
Really?
And then I Googled it, and I found what it's called and stuff. I just don't remember what it is.
Which, what's funny is like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's
No.
just funny. Like, because if you feel like being naked, and a lot of other people are like, I do too, and you're
as
in your
long
own
as
little
it's
place.
between all consensual adults.
Yeah,
Why not?
absolutely. Probably a gated RV community,
Oh,
which I
yeah.
don't think there are many of those.
It is all fenced in.
Okay.
Only in America, dreaming in red, white, and blue. Only in.
Well, and in Crossville,
Red, white, and nude.
there's too many nudist things around here. There's a few of them.
Really? Man.
Yeah, there's a
it's-
couple in Crossville.
It's such a hidden community that
I
I
know.
don't, I've never
Well, it's
heard of these
Googleable.
before. Oh, I'm sure it is. One wrong trip, and you're going down a rabbit hole that you're never coming back
Yeah.
from. You'll find yourself moving quickly.
Welcome to Tiny's Terrible Tabs.
Yay!
The random edition.
Ooh, we could call it Tiny's Terrible Town, and we could all live, we could all live there nude.
Here's a little side trope from that trope called Barely There Swimwear. And it's whenever the most unsuspecting characters end up showing up in the most just.
Borat.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. What are you doing?
I'm
Do you think
sorry.
that there's a spider inside your
thought
headphones
if,
right
it
now?
was my own ear hair in my ear. Welcome to your
They're
30s.
attacking
Welcome
everywhere.
welcome to your 30s. You think that you're getting attacked by the spiders that you've been seeing the entire time you've been podcasting, but it's truthfully just your own ear hair coming there to get you. No, Barely There Swimwear.
Yeah.
There's an episode of Stargate to where they have a beach episode where they're crossing over into this other world through the Stargate, and this one of the, I think it's like an admiral or something like that, is just absolutely just in that Barely There swimwear and just blows everybody's mind like, whoa. So
when all of a sudden the person that's clothed all the time, you find out they look so good.
like, oh my God, how's she hiding those major bazongas? It's always like that. It's always like that. And if you've got a beach episode, you got a 50-50 chance. You got a Targaryen sanity's chance of being able to be in normal swimsuits, or I can't believe she's hiding those bazongas. That was a good little nerd rant right there.
Wonderful.
A Targaryen sanity's chance.
Speaking of Stargate, where captains are involved with ships and such, there's one that I stumbled across today of a trope called "Never Give the Captain a Straight Answer," and it's wonderful. There's even a little comic that says, "Captain, it's Chief in Engineering. I think you better get down here." "What is it?" "No time, Captain. It'll take me 10 minutes to get down there. Tell me while I'm walking." "No."
That is true.
It's all the time. It's like, "You're going to want to see this." You could just tell me. We could fix the problem remotely. But no.
That's also known as every Star Trek episode ever.
Ever. And it's even in storytelling. You just watch any show or movie where, hey, if they had communication right now, the problem would be completely solved. Yeah. But then it's like, well, I guess there's no show. And why couldn't you just work that in there somehow to where it makes sense that it wasn't being communicated?
You need to watch the Hugh Laurie show on HBO Max called Avenue 5. And you've seen me and Trudy watching it, I'd say, a little bit. In that show, he is a captain.
What?
And he is a captain.
Is he anything like House?
Yes, actually.
Yes.
I mean,
I need to watch this then.
To the point that he's so much like House that he's Hugh Laurie playing House, playing Hugh Laurie.
But he is he's British because he's naturally British. So he's a British version of that doctor.
Oh, I'm gonna watch this.
Only sometimes because it's. I'm not going to spoil.
It is good. Yeah, I've seen quite a bit of this. As you guys are watching it,
it's one of those things like he's put into this position as a captain, and this isn't like spoilers for the people that haven't seen the show that much. It's literally the premise of the show. Mm-hmm. Like he's put into this position as the captain of this ship, the giant Avenue 5, owned by Josh Gad, who is this eccentric billionaire. Like it's ridiculous. And he's just the entire time dealing with stuff like this, and he's calling them out on this nonsensical bullshit like, no, tell me now. Tell me now what's going on with this. Why is this happening? What's going on with this? Why don't I know this? Turns out the whole time he's just an actor, and he's not an actual captain of the ship. So he's putting on this American accent, this everyman kind of attitude, and he gets so flustered, he just goes, "Oh, bollocks!" He lets his character slip through his American accent, and people start finding out that he's actually British. And then it comes and goes like schizophrenia throughout the show now because it ended up being in like a psychotic mess. So it's pretty great. Watch that show, though.
What was it called again?
Avenue 5.
Avenue 5.
Yeah.
Is he hooked on Vicodin?
Off screen.
At one point, there might be some kind of thing like that, but I can't exactly remember. There wasn't an entire dependency arc like there was in House.
I've got a good final one before we make a very quick story of our own, just an overarching story of our own by combining all the ones we can remember talking about. But Motorcycle on the Coast Road is such a good one to me, of that moment of just the character riding their motorcycle, that freedom of that they're thinking either they've been upset and this is their way of freeing their mind and just driving their motorcycle while the sun's setting along the coast. And it's cliche at this point because the scenes are always the exact same, especially when it's a motorcycle. Sometimes it's a convertible. So I would put that in the same.
It's always on PCH.
Yes, the open top, the open vehicle, coast road drive on Sunset. And that's just, and sometimes it's how stories end. It's just how they drive off.
You need a good soundtrack for it, though. You got to have that good soundtrack for that ending, driving to the distance while you're freeing your mind in your open top vehicle. You need that soundtrack. So what's that soundtrack song? And we need to think of that soundtrack song because that's going to be involved in the story.
Yeah, and they always have that squinty-eyed look of just bliss while the wind's in their hair. You know,
that self-reflection of just. everything's going to be okay because I'm on my motorcycle and the sun is still in the sky. Tiny hasn't punched it yet.
Yes. And I'm not red like a lobster.
So somehow we've got to remember all these tropes that we've come across and create a quick version of our own story. So I think main character wise, I think the only characters we've had were the free range children. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can we be our childhood selves in this story?
Yeah. Why not? We are the free range children.
Yeah.
And we've been transported where?
Oh, we've been transported
Because Ezekiel.
I would like there to be a threat that's been transported to us.
Okay.
And we're running from the threat as these different portals are opening.
On our bicycles?
Yes, on our bicycles. We
Okay.
are pedaling and pedaling and pedaling.
and we grow beards to disguise our identities.
See, I was thinking the beards would happen whenever we accidentally rode into one of the portals. And when we rode into one of the portals, we ended up having everything shifted matter-wise, and all of a sudden now we're in our adult bodies, and we have beards, and we're on motorcycles, and we're on and we're riding.
Hold on. No. So we're on motorcycles going down the PCH at sunset, and there's the portals and like the doors in a hallway, and while we're being chased, we go in and out, in and out, in and out of them,
Like a
And it's
Scooby-Doo.
It's like beard, no beard, beard, no beard.
normal,
Beard, no beard, beard, no beard.
normal clothes, barely there swimwear. Normal clothes, barely there swimwear. Normal clothes,
Bicycle, motorcycle, bicycle, motorcycle.
bicycle, tiny trike. When did I get a big wheel?
And our whole situation could have been solved by a simple just speaking with those that have come to our world and saying like, hey, could you guys go? Like, could you just bounce?
Or like, could you guys not be dicks? And
Just
they're like,
not.
My bad.
Oh, we didn't
Didn't
realize.
realize.
We thought
Sorry,
we were
bro.
having like a fun game of tag.
Yeah.
And then it was all a dream.
And you were there, and you were there, and you had a beard,
And you had a bicycle?
and your nipples were out, but also in at the same time.
Your bazongas were enormous.
How did you hide those massive bazongas?
Oh, thank you all for concealing your bazongas in order to turn your attention to this episode of the show where you've listened to us on I don't care where. We're everywhere. There's 5 stars somewhere where you're at in the app. Go click the 5th star and then comment while we're awesome. Also, you can comment while we're terrible. I don't care. And then there's also a link that you can click and go buy t-shirts. And you can transport yourself to another world to where you yourself are a grape. And you can sit in a dark room by yourself in a chair and pretend like you're talking into a microphone to where 30 other people listen to you weekly.
And if you would like to talk to us a little bit about the proper ways to have pest control for spiders inside of your home, do so by getting on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter by looking up at Nerd Grapevine. While we're there, we can talk about ways that I can get rid of these little sumbitches that keep invading our grape sack and raining down hell from above. When Seven was our guest, he actually saw it happening outside, and they've invaded to the inside of the house. So please save us. Save us. Please. You can also do that by providing food for our families by giving us money on Patreon. You can get on Patreon, look up Nerd Grapevine, donate a little bit to the cause, get a shiny holographic Nerd at the Grapevine sticker, put bread on our table. And
Marcus has a baby now. We got to feed that thing somehow.
we got to feed that
His
baby.
fake rubber boobies are not going to do it.
We got to make sure that we can support Electric Ma'am. And just whatever you do, don't just strap on a set of tits and try to talk about how you're hiding your massive bazongas from everybody, because that'll cause them to have a lot of...
Is it weird that my eyebrows hurt too? I feel like they're
No,
burnt underneath.
They are.
Like,
The red doesn't stop there.
Everything hurts from like my neck up. So if you want to get on Discord and talk to us about how bad you've been burnt, how I'm just being a big baby, go to the link in our description and I will tell you that you are wrong. I'm being a big man that hurts because you're causing me a lot of discord. And shortly, like within the next few weeks, assuming I get some messages, we will be playing Starfinder. It's a lot of fun. It's free to join. Just send me a little old message ski and I'll, give you a seat at the table. Spots are limited. You can just find us. Just find us. That's all I can say. We're live, uncut, uncensored, and irrevocably circumcised.
There's another spider.
Quick in the show.
There's
Quick, ask
another-
the stupid question. we always ask.
Whenever life gives you grace, I'm going to kill this spider and I'm going to shove it in my ass.
You didn't get it! It fell! No!
It's right there.
No!
It's on the ground.
No!
It's on the ground.
hiding!
You didn't get it. You didn't get it. I can't believe she's hiding those bazongas.